no credit.
No, not at all.
Talked about last week. We're gonna pick up where we left off, and we're gonna touch on some other things. You remember? What you remember? Yeah, not the shadow.
So I find yourself somewhere to sit down at.
The spirit of understanding to do what? Right. So, anybody else got something else besides that?
Mari.
The main thing we focused on was, like he said, dwelling in his defense, dwelling in his shadow, so that you may enter into his temple, and also being chosen to be a part of his workmanship. And we talked about what his workmanship was and what are we responsible for doing as his service and being his workmanship. And that responsibility that we all carry if we say that we want to inherit or obtain this man's spirit. So let's jump to Ecclesiastes 2:17. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 17.
So therefore I hated life, because the work is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all is vanity and vexation of ruach.
Let's stop there. So he says, therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. All is vanity and vexation of spirit. So we came here to look at, he said, therefore he hated his life. All right. So we see that he hated his life. Now let's go to Exodus. Well, before we go to Exodus, why y'all think he said he hated his life? Outside of him saying because of the work that is wrought. And how can we tie that back into our service as his workmanship?
Because the master say, the man that hated life will gain eternal life.
We can look at that. Anybody else? Any idea why he said he hated his life?
Because you have to lose your life to serve all people.
Because you have to lose, right. So you have to lose your life, or you have to forsake this life or this world to be able to gain this man's spirit to do the work. Because that's the work that he did. When he came and he laid down his life for us. He gave up his life for us. So when we're looking at that, that's the same outlook that we have to have and understand that the work we must do, it encompasses us sacrificing. So let's go to Exodus 32. And let's jump down to verse 32. Yeah, Exodus 32 and 13.
Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal, thy servants, to whom thou swear by thy own self, and said unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of Shamahim, and all this land that I've spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. You were repented of the evil which he thought to do unto this people. And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of stone were in his hand. The tables were written on both of their sides, and on the one side and on the other were they written.
So start right there. So why do you think he's saying, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal, thy servants? Why is Moses saying this? Y'all remember what's going on in this instance to make him say that? Right, let's jump up to verse 9. Let's read it. I want y'all to understand what's going on right here. Matter of fact, jump up to 7.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Go and get thee down, for thy people which thou brought out of the land of Mizraim have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and they made them a molten calf and worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Yasharal, which have brought thee up out of the land of Mizraim. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, I've seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, and that my wrath might wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation.
Boom. So stop right there. So we seeing that Moses saying, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal, because Yahuwah just said, hey, bro, step aside. I'm finna just go ahead and smash these boys. That's what he just said. So that's why when we read at 13, Moses saying, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why is that significant? Why is that significant that he's saying that when he just said, hey, step aside, let me alone, my wrath hot, and I'm finna just consume them boys?
Because Abraham was his friend. And those people he made a covenant with.
Right, because he had already promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he was going to establish his seed forever through the seed of Yasharah, through these people that he said he was going to consume. So you got to understand, it's the mercy that he is showing our forefathers that we are even here this day, because even then until this present time, we have done so much wickedness, we have done so much idolatry, we have done so much unrighteousness that he should consume us. We should have been already consumed. Think about all the other nations that have walked the earth. Even if you look at Genesis 10 and look at the table of nations, even if you look at before Genesis 10 when he destroyed the whole earth and left 8 people. You got to understand that he has wiped civilizations, he has wiped nations, he has wiped bloodlines off the face of this earth for wickedness. And we not no different than any of those other people. He's only sparing us, and he's only pleading with us like he pled with them in the wilderness because of our forefathers, the promise that he made to them. That's what makes us so significant in the grand scheme of this book and this text, because this whole text is him battling, not thrashing us, and him sending people to help us so that his word might be fulfilled. So now we look at the difference between now and then. All right. So, matter of fact, let's jump right back to Ecclesiastes, just so we can read it. Matter of fact, you don't got to go back. I'll read it. He says that, because remember his whole point was, I hated life because of the work that is wrought under the sun, and it is grievous unto me, and it is all vanity and vexation of the spirit. What's the difference between the work that they had to do then and the work we have to do now? Is there a difference at all?
I feel like, because they didn't have, like, I know when they come to the sin, they had to sacrifice animals, all that stuff. Now we just send sacrifices. Most High.
So it was a sacrificial system where they physically had to do work, and they had to physically act out rituals and do things word by word, like I said, the text, to atone for their sin. What else? What else is different? We talk about physical work.
The son that came out of the son.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same, but I understand it now. Like we in the masters, it's different. We know that it's faith. They didn't really know it was a faith.
All right, I'll take that. So when we look at that, let's go back to Exodus 23. What is this work of Yahuwah? We finna read it. This work of Yahuwah that we're gonna see. So we already seen it. Now we see the work that's done in retrospect. We at Exodus 32. We read that. Let's jump down to. Let's read 15. 32, Exodus 32.
And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of stone were in his hand. The tables were written on both of their sides, the one on the side and the other were they written. And the tables were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim graven upon the tables.
All right, so we see that the tables were the work of Elohim. So we already read that he pled for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and it say Yahuwah repented of evil which he thought to do to his people. So we see that for him keeping his promises to them, he spared us and he did a work before our eyes. And that work was creating these tables of the testimony, or these tablets of stone that we just seen. That is the work that he did. So when we go back to understanding what our workmanship is now, we got to look at, we have to do that same work with them tablets of stone, not physically like they did, carrying it around in the wilderness, housing it, having it in the temple. Them tables of stone got to be in your heart. And that's part of the work that you have to do, and you have to carry every day. All right? So let's look at that. Let's go to Proverbs 7, and then we're going to jump to Matthew. Proverbs chapter 7 at the top.
My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my Torah is the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the tables of thine heart.
So it say, bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the table of thine heart. So we're looking at the table of thine heart. The table of your heart is the word being inside of you and you binding it up and you keeping it in your inner man. Because before, they literally walked around with the two tables of the stone. They literally walked around with the Ark of the Covenant with this work of Yahuwah on their person. The Levitical priest walked around with these tablets. But now we see that the work is different because the work requires us to do what he did. And that's the sacrifice. All right? So let's look and see what the Master said at his mouth in Matthew 16. I want y'all to hold on to that though. When we say binding, writing on the table of your heart. All right. So let's read Matthew 16, verse 24. Chapter 16, verse 24 of Matthew.
Then Yahushua said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profit if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? For what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
Boom. So stop there. He asked a question. He said, what shall a man give is in exchange for his soul? So y'all got to understand this. And we talked about this before. When we talked about us being written and the wickedness that we've all done, we had read a verse talking about how we were all once in darkness after the lust of our flesh. Talking about how understanding before the word and before we made this decision to serve him, is this something that we in our mind said, oh, I'm finna grow up and I'm finna serve you? You know what I'm saying? We talked about that. Like, nobody said that, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a Yahudim, I want to serve y'all, I want to understand y'all, I want to be saved. These are not things that as a youth you think about doing with your life. You think about being grown and being able to do what you want to do, go where you want to go, be with the people you want to be with, go to places you want to go, see the things you want to see. That's naturally what you think about as a child when you gain your freedom from your people's house. But you got to understand that this life came upon us and we had a choice whether we wanted to follow it or whether we wanted to continue to do the things that we want to do. And that choice is still open to us this day. That's not like a closed door thing. Now we chose to serve him. Now that's it. Because you can, at any given moment, any time, put this book down and forsake this man and walk away from this word. At any given time, that's your choice. So it's your choice to continue this service and continue this work and bear the state that you said you was going to bear up and take up. But what he just said was, what is it profit that you get to go out and do what you want to do the things you always want to do, and what? Lose your own soul. Because for the sins that we committed, from the time we started walking in the word, from the time we got baptized and made this commitment to say this is the life we want to live, what have you done in exchange for your soul? Because we already talked about the difference between the work. What was the work back then? Back then, it was a sacrificial system set up. It was work and physical things set in place for if you violated, if you did this, for the sins that you committed against your neighbor, against Elohim. There was a system set up and a work that was done. That's the difference between now. So he asking, Yahushua asking, what shall a man give in exchange for your soul? What do any of y'all have right now that is a fair exchange for all the wickedness and all the sin y'all have committed? What do y'all have that can satisfy this man? That can be a repayment to this man, because we all in debt. We all in debt. Y'all understand? What can we give in exchange for the kids out of wedlock? What can we give in exchange for the premarital sex, the drugs, the lying, the fornicating, the stealing, the cheating, the disrespecting our parents, all the things that we all have done? What do we have to exchange for that right now at this present time? All you got to give is your life. You understand? But this is what, especially people in the world and wicked people don't understand. Even if you make this choice to serve him, he gonna get that anyway. Because the wages of sin is death and everybody gonna die. That's why he's saying it's all vanity. What is it to be wise and do all this great work and get all these riches when you gonna die like the poor man on the corner asking for money? He gonna get his life just like he gonna get your life. So is it really worth it you getting to do what you want to do and living how you want to live, and then he gonna tax you at the end because everybody in debt? And it's only one thing that's gonna cover everybody's debt, and that's your life. Because we didn't ask for that life. That's something that he gave us. That was a free gift that he gave us, and we messed over it. We messed over it by trying to live how we want to live and live outside this man's word. That's why we got to work to do to pay off that debt. And it's different from paying off a debt that man owe, because it's nothing that we can do to satisfy outside of giving our time and giving our body and giving our mind back to this man.
Come here, Henry.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? So when you saying you writing and binding that word in your heart, what you doing is you putting this man's word in your heart literally, so that outwardly what you manifest is the qualities of Yahushua. All right? Read verse 27. Go sit down.
But you don't never need to make that face, boy. No, he took something out of his mouth. That's what he crying about. For the Son of Man shall come in the esteem of his Abba with his Malachim, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Truly I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
Boom. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at what he's saying. He's going to reward you every man according to his works. Therefore, the work that you do to pay off the debt that you owe is what you're going to be judged by. Have you paid the price that's sufficient for what you owe? And if you haven't really given your life up to this man, and you really haven't done the things that pertain to salvation, how you gonna say you got what you? How you gonna say you can pay what you owe? And that's what we're looking at. That's supposed to be the reason that you come, do what you do, stand this word, all the things that you say you believe in. That's what you're hoping to believe is that you can pay off what you owe. Because a lot of people don't believe that they have what it takes to pay that, and they're not willing to put in the work to do it. You'll work to pay off your car and pay off your house and pay off your loans and pay off your student debt, but you don't want to pay off what you're going to get back at the end. That's what we're not seeing. We're not seeing that. It's not that you're just paying off a debt. This man merciful, that he is willing to give you something in return for paying off your debt. It's not that you get your gift up front and then you pay it off later. You get your gift at the end once you paid your debt, and now you got eternity. Now you got eternal life. That's why how could you live in a world and love a world that you getting your gifts and rewards up front and still paying for it on the back end? How could you like that? That's slavery. Because that's what you're doing. When you serve your sin, you getting the reward right then, because that's sin. Their immediate satisfaction and gratification, and now he got to tax you with your life. And he gonna get that regardless. Y'all don't see the slavery. Y'all don't see the hardship. Y'all don't see how that work is grievous. Because that's the work that's grievous. Because you keep sinning over and over again, adding on to the debt he gonna collect anyway. So that's why he asked you, what's good if you do all these things and don't get none of the eternal life? Especially if you already say, I've committed to the work. I've committed to serving you. I've committed to living my life like this. I've committed to living by your word, and I've binded that in my heart so that I can do the things that I need to do to become worthy of your eternal life. So these are the things that we got to see and we got to meditate on. And why he's saying if you love your life, you're not going to gain no eternal life. Because how can you love a life that is just servitude to your flesh? How could you love that? All right? So let's look at it. Let's go to Luke 14. All right. So let's go to verse 25.
And there went a great multitude with him, and he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and his sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Whosoever doth not bear his stake and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it.
Stop right there. Read that one more time.
For which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it.
That's what we're looking at. So we're looking at, we're talking about building that tower, that's talking about taking on that work. He pretty much saying, who gonna say I'm finna build a house and don't see if you got all the materials and got the cost to pay to finish that building? Is that something that everyone can sit in here and say you consider? Because this is the life that you're gonna have to live until your death. Going back to what he say it's gonna be some that never taste death. No man know the hour of the day that this man come. So guess what? If you have already laid your life down and paid the sufficient cost, you might never have to see death. You might never have to experience going into the grave when this man come back, because you've already paid what you owe. So that when you come in his likeness, and when he come, you will be in his likeness, and you will be like him. You will never have to die. That's why he made the statement that some won't have to taste death. Because if you paid the cost that's sufficient, meaning you gave in your life and you laid it down like he laid it up and took up your state, meaning you sacrificed yourself, when this man come back, you're going to be like him automatically. You're never going to have to die. But guess what? Even still, if you know that you paid the cost that is sufficient enough to pay and you laid your life down as this man offered you, you still should hate your life anyway, and you still should be ready to die. That's the whole point. If you die tomorrow, praise the Lamb, because you know that you've done everything you need to do and you've paid the cost that was sufficient for you to get into this man's kingdom. And if he come tomorrow, praise the Lamb, because you know you paid the cost that's sufficient so that you can be like him and meet him in the sky when he returns. It's the same thing. So you hating your life is hating the fact that you have to still dwell in your flesh, knowing your inner man breathes and longs to be in this man's kingdom, being on this man's throne, drinking from this man's water, being with this man in eternal life. Because if you really taking on this man and taking on this man's spirit, you should be grieved and vexed by what we have to go through every day to continue to do the work. The temptations we still have to face. The things that we still have to do. The people we still have to be around that don't have nothing in common with us, who not trying to do what we're trying to do. So the fact that you can live and say that this is what you want to do and still want to be around people who don't have no kind of inkling to want to do this man's word, how could you feel comfortable with that? Because you should be vexed and this should be grievous. Because for me personally, having to go through the daily cycle of going, saying, come on. No, you too big for that. Hush. For you to have to go through the routine cycle of doing the same things over and over every day, in and out, and not being able to overcome your flesh, that should be the grievous part of life. But if you got this man's spirit, that's what's going to be your hope, that you're going to be able to receive this man's riches. All right? We have verse 29.
Less happily after he laid the foundation, he is not able to finish it. All that behold it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king, sit not down first and consult whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that come against him with 20,000. Or where else, while the other is yet a great way off, he send an ambassage and desire conditions of shalom. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsake not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple.
Boom. So we already know what disciple means, right? Y'all know what disciple means? Talk. All that means is somebody that's being taught of Elohim, that's learning of Elohim, who is taking on the qualities and taking on the work to seek after this man's word, to learn about what they got to do this man's work so they can get their souls saved. That's what we're looking at. So when we're looking at us being disciples, that's what we're doing. We're being taught of this man so that we can gain the reward that this man has to give us. Let's go to John 5. John chapter 5, verse 24.
Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that hear my word and believe on him that sent me have everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the hour is coming and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live.
Boom. So right there, we already dealt with some of us might not taste death. So right here, he's saying that those that believe on him and hear this man's word, and you have ceased from death unto life, it say that the time is going to come where they're going to hear this man's voice and they in the grave and they're going to live. All right? That's the difference of the condemnation of those who haven't paid the price that's sufficient, because you're going to have lived your life. You're going to have lived your life for the lust of your flesh, doing all the things your soul desire, and when you die, you're going to wake up to what you owe. That's that eternal flame, that eternal damnation for the work that you did. And that's what he's going to pay you with. So when we're looking at it, that's the cost that we're counting. Is that something that you're willing to pay with your life to do what you want to do now? Because if that's the case and that's really how you feel, you should put the book down. Because at this point, if you really not in your heart 100% sold on doing this work,
Come here, little Mike.
or doing what you committed to do, you might as well live your life how you want to live it, instead of going through the cycle of being tempted by your flesh, overcoming sin over and over until the day you die. That's what you're going to have to do. Because this is what he did. Even to his last breath, he asked him from the cup to pass from him. Because, yeah, it's easy to say that you're ready to die. Because we know this man was perfect and upright. And he still was asking, are you sure this is the will for me? Are you sure this is what you wanted me to do? So you got to understand that example is already set in place. That example is already set in place. We just got to follow it. And it's up to us to hold each other accountable for doing that. All right. We at 26. I'm sorry.
For as the Father have life in himself, so have he given to the Son to have life in himself. And he have given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, and they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation.
So look, check this out. So we know that it's deeper than he's saying, he that hear my word and believed on him that sent me have everlasting life. So when we look at that, matter of fact, let's go to John 1. Just jump back to John 1. Jump to verse 3.
All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shined in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not.
Why did the darkness comprehend not the light? And why is he saying that in him was the life, and the life was the light of men? When you're in darkness, you don't have no life. So you got to understand, if you don't have this man's word in your heart, because in the beginning, he said, I was the word, and the word was God, and the word was with God. So all things are made by him, and without him was nothing, not anything that was made that was made. So we understand that. You understand that if we got this man's word bonded in our heart, like it's saying in Proverbs, we have that light in us. So if there's light in us, there's no part of darkness. So if there's no part of darkness, that means we will not have to wake up out of that sleep until eternal damnation, because we already have this man's life, or this man's light in us. So what business do we have holding on to this life of our flesh when we're supposed to have the life in our heart? That this man gonna shine upon us, even if we were to die and go into the grave. Because the darkness, or when we talk about the shadow of death, that's nothing but the grave. You know what I'm saying? So if you already got the light in your heart, when you die, if you already got that light, he just told us that we're gonna resurrect, and we're gonna hear that voice, and we're gonna be brought up, and we're gonna reign with him as light. This is our hope. This is our faith. Understand that the faith that they had back then was no match to what we have now, because we have this man's example. We have explicit instruction, word for word out this man's mouth, telling us what we ought to do and how we ought to move so we can be saved. All right? Let's go to John 15. So we talked about if you love your father, love your mother, love your life more than him, you're not worthy of him. And we done talked about this before. Hold on, 15. Let's go to verse 18. John chapter 15, verse 18.
If the world hated you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own, but because you were not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his master. And if they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. And if they kept my saying, they will keep yours
So
also.
boom. So now that go back to what we already read in Ecclesiastes, because he said he hated his life. Why? Because the work was grievous. Yahushua right here already telling you if the world hates you, know that it hated me first. So you gotta understand, if you really taking on the qualities of this man and you really taking up your cross and taking up your state, that means you already have to be able to endure the persecution, endure the chastening. What verse that is? He say, no chastening. It say chastening is aggrieved. What is it? What does it say?
Hebrews chapter 12.
Yeah, Hebrews chapter 12. Pull that. It's on my tongue. I can't get it out. Hebrews chapter 12. It's a chastening make this being grievous.
12 and 11.
Yep. Let's go to 10.
For truly, for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his kadoshness. Now no chastening for the present seemed to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterwards it yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
It say at 10, they chastened us after their own pleasure. Let's go back to what he was saying, that they hate you, they hated me first. Why they hating us? Why they hated him? He chastened his son to show forth that was his son. And we saying that we his son, and we made after his likeness, and we've taken on this man's spirit, we have to endure the same things he endured. And the chastening proved him out to be the son. But it's saying the chastening for the present seeming, it say for no chastening for the present seemed joyous. Meaning it seemed grievous. Because it's not joyous. The persecution, the hate, the chastisement, the things we have to go through in this body once we say we taking on this man's work, it's not going to be joyous to us. It's going to seem grievous. You're going to begin to hate life. Because this is the life we saying we taking on to live. And not hate life in the sense of we hating the work that we're taking on. But we know that we hate being in this body of flesh, this body of sin, which is in all contradiction to how we should live our life naturally, because we in our flesh. And that's what should be grievous. That's what should be wanting you to long to be with this man, because all we know is this body. All we know about life is the body that we've been in. Everything that we've been told about, all the riches and all the things that we could receive in the rewards, is something that we've only heard about, read about. Who has physically tasted this and been able to come back and tell the tale? But what you can go off of is this man grace and mercy that you know he done showed us. Because all of us got situations where we know we ought not be here. We ought to be dead. We ought to be in worse positions that we in. But we already seen that his grace and mercy has allowed us to be here this day. To even receive this man's word. To even hear about his promises. To even hear about this man's word. To even hear about what we can do to pay back our debt that we owe. Because there's a lot of people out here that they have not even been called to even receive this information that we have. So the inklings and the small doses that we see of his grace and mercy, we gotta establish our faith in that, knowing that if he got us this far, the sky's the limit. Enduring to the end and keep going and stand on the path and stand on the course and stand on the narrow path You have to hope and know and have assured in your heart that you know salvation is at the other side of that door. You just got to grab hold to it and stay firm and stay established. That's part of the work. All right? So let's go back. We was at John 15 talking about the world hating us. We always talk about this. We always talk about even going to why he say you got to hate your father, hate your mother. But if these people are contrary to the word, naturally they supposed to hate you. Naturally they supposed to be persecuting you. Naturally you supposed to see the separation of why they treat you a certain way and why they persecute you. If you really showing forth the qualities of Elohim, you really have died to the old person. If you still showing hints and inklings of being the old person, it's going to be okay because they feel like they know you haven't fully in your heart and in your mind committed to this. So they still see that it's wavering in you. It's not till they see that you really firm and you really solid and this is really what you're willing to die for, that's when that persecution comes from. Think about how many times they tried Yahushua to really see if he was who he said he was, before they got to the point where, hey, we just finna go ahead and kill him. At this point, ain't nothing else we can do. We done tried to catch him up in his talk. We done tried to come at him this way, come at him that way, catch him slipping, come at him about the Shabbat, come at him about this. We done tried everything we can do. He's solid. Clearly, he is who he said he is, and the life that he's living is the life that he's living. That's what we looking at when we saying that we taking on after this man. Are you put in an adverse situation? Are you showing forth that this probably not really what this nigga want to do for real? Because people gonna test you, people gonna try you. We talked about that. I was just talking to him about that today. It was a situation today. People gonna try and wait to the last minute, gonna try to put you in situations where they feel like they putting you up against the wall to make a decision on the fly. To see if they can lean you towards making the decision that they want you to make. All that is him trying you and testing you and see where your head at. And see is every time, every situation, the first thing in your mind is pleasing Elohim. What's right? Because a lot of times in a big picture, it's certain things that we might not look at as, oh, this is a sin, or oh, this is a situation. It's a situation to show forth that is the first thing on your mind always, every time, is this pleasing to Elohim? Is this something that a man of Elohim ought to be doing, or a man or woman of Elohim ought to be doing? Is it adverse things, or can this be perceived in a negative way? Or can this be perceived in a way that it don't look like what it seems? Any situation like that, you automatically should stray away from it. It says abstain from any appearance of evil. So anything that can make you or join you or pair you to something that's unrighteousness and make you look bad, in your mind, that's the first thing you ought to know. Hey, that's probably not where I ought to go, or not where I ought to be. If that's not the first thing popping in your mind, that's something that needs to be addressed. Because people are waiting for a reason and looking for a reason to write you off saying and mock you. Like he said, he ain't really got what it take to pay. Like he say this what he want to do, but that ain't what he want to do. And they gonna try you and see that. That's what we looking at. Because all this encompasses the work, and all this encompassing him judging us and seeing if we worthy to get the reward that we say and the debt that we say we trying to pay off. All right, let's keep reading it though. We're at 20.
Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his master. If they have persecuted me, they will persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hate me, hate my Father also.
Boom. Because that's where it's coming from. If any person hate the Father and you showing qualities of his Son, how? Adversely, how can they not start showing you and manifesting that they really don't love Elohim? And how can you, as your son, we saying that this our Father and we his children, how can we be around people that openly disrespect our Father in deed and in word? It should automatically be a separation. These things should be red flags in our head. Like, I probably shouldn't hang around this person no more. I probably shouldn't go and do this no more. Because you gotta understand, You not having the ability and showing forth to do that, showing that you still holding on to life and there's parts and aspects of life that you still want to hold on to, while saying that this is what you want to do. Because that's all it's showing for. You really haven't really sacrificed your life and the things that you say that you're willing to give up. You're really not willing to give it up because you're not doing it. And that's what we analyze. Because at this point, it's deeper than, we know what we're supposed to be doing. It's deeper than that. You got to look and refine. Take your life with a fine-tooth comb and comb out everything you know that's going to separate you from being in this man's kingdom. Anything you can think of in your mind that you know could hinder you from getting in this man's kingdom, you got to get that stuff out. Because if this man came tomorrow, I thought I was straight, or I've been doing this, I've been doing that, that's not what you want to hear. He going to say he don't know you, and you going to have your place with the sinners and the unrighteous and the wicked. That's what y'all got to understand. That's how serious it is. Because it's an all or nothing deal. You either got it or you don't. You either doing it or you not. And that's something that's the mentality that we got to have. And that's with dealing with other people. If you're not on this, this is what I'm on. So I'm not compromising, I'm not sacrificing, I'm not meeting you halfway, not meeting you in the middle. It's either all or nothing. And that's the kind of discipleship that he wants. Those that are taught of him are supposed to exhibit those qualities. So that when it's time, when your life, and it's time for you to lay it down, you're going to lay it down, because guess what? It's nothing else, it's nothing left. It's nothing holding you on to this. If you put in a situation where you got to give up your life, you're not going to have nothing that pop up in your mind. What about this? Or what about this person? What about my mama? What about my kids? None of that stuff going to pop in your head, because you've already in your mind made up that I've already given that up. That's already not even a thought in my mind. All right? That's what he's looking for. All right? So let's go to Hebrews chapter 4. We said they hated you, they hated the Father first. All right. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 11.
Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after that same example of unbelief. For the word of Elohim is quick and powerful and sharper than a two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart.
Period. So now we're looking at, he's saying, let us labor that we might enter into that rest. Because that's what you desire. That's where it's coming from. You saying you hate your life. You hate your life that you live because you desire to gain the rest that comes from the work that you've already put in, because that work is grievous. And only a person who's really been doing that work is really gonna feel like that. Ain't nobody, you don't, everybody don't work the job. The person that's in there busting their tail, doing the hard work, doing this, that, and the third, is the person that's really ready to get off and gain the reward and get their rest, versus the person that's been in there twiddling their thumbs. That person like whatever about it. If you really putting in that work, you're gonna be ready. So when you laboring that, you laboring into that rest. But this is what we're looking at. We're looking at that word being on the tablet of your heart. Because the reason that it's in the tablet of your heart, because the word is that fine-tooth comb that we're talking about. The word is that sword. It's supposed to be chopping through the thoughts and the imagination of your heart. Anything and everything that you know. If you feel the spirit is condemning you, you feel like you have an inkling that this might not be right, or I shouldn't be doing this, or you feel any type of way about any activity, any person, any situation you put in, that's the word trying to cut it. But you have to allow the word to do that, right? It says it'll dividing asunder the soul, the ruach, the joints, the marrow, and the discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. It's there to help you discern what you know you need to put down, what you know you need to stop doing, and what you need to do to get where you need to be. But if you're not allowing the word to do that, that's showing that you ain't really put that word in your heart. You ain't really laid it up like you say you laid it up. and or you don't know it like you claim you do, or like you know you should. Cause that's another thing that's gonna keep the word from being able to make you clean. You don't know it like you ought to. You're not giving him his time. You're not really putting in that work. You're not trying to seek this man outside of Shabbat. You're not trying to learn about this man outside of coming and hearing about it. You're not reading on your own. You're not seeking him for it. You're doing what? The stuff that you want to do. The stuff that you feel like doing, and you're not giving him what you owe. We all owe him time to give back to him, to learn about him. We say that this is what we want. So how can the word be that for you if you're not even allowing the word to come into your heart that you might be saved? Because our biggest enemy is ourselves. So the people that don't and have a careful life, and the reason I even wanted to bring this up, because I was talking to Shayla about this, like, people in your life, people in your family, if anything was to happen to me, because this is what we were talking about, if anything was to happen to me, I right now in my life feel like I am as close as I've ever been to being saved. I feel the most comfortable and confident where I'm at because I know I've done what I need to do. So when I say that, I'm not scared no more. Like, that's what I was telling her. Like, I used to be scared of a lot of stuff, like, just naturally, like situations, anything like that. I'm not, because I know that it is what it is. Whatever happened, gonna happen. Because before, when I wasn't living right, when I say scared, I don't mean scared like frightened or terrified, but I'm like, shoot, I know I ain't right. Like, I got that feeling like, shoot, I know I ain't right. Scared to go to hell. Like, I feel like I'm gonna go to hell, period. That's the clear way to put it. I feel like before, I'm like, boy, if something happened to me, I'm probably going to hell. Like, this is the first time in my life I felt like I don't feel like that. That's not a thought to me. I'm not frightened by that. Because in my heart, I don't think that's a reality for me. Because I know I'm going to keep doing the work. I'm going to keep putting in what I need to put in. I'm going to continue to sacrifice because I don't look at that as an option. But when you living wrong and you're not sacrificing and you're really not where you ought to be, you know that's an option because you know you have not done everything required. You know what I'm saying? It's a test. So if you know you ain't studied for it, know you ain't put in the work, you know, you done been to school, they sit that test in front of you like, boy, I don't know how I'm going to get through this one, boy. Because you know you ain't studied. You have not done no type of work to prepare for this test. Versus when you know you done went in there, boy, I hit it back to back, front to back, took my notes, got this, got that, checked over it, hopped up, read, we went over it. They put the test down, you ready, you're confident. You know that whatever on this test, I'm prepared for. I read, I studied, whatever, just bust it out. That's how you feel. That's how you should feel about life. Especially now that you know this, man. Versus all these people out here living their life for self. We should all feel like that about life. Because this man done give us the greatest gift, the greatest opportunity, his son. A way to be saved, a way to be debt free. So if you don't feel like that about your life, why? That's the question. Why? We got two more. Let's go to Luke 21. Mm-hmm. Let's read that at the top.
And he looked up and saw the rich man casting their gifts into the treasury. He also saw a certain poor widow cast into the two mites. He said, of a truth I say unto you, this poor widow have cast in more than they all. Mm-hmm. For all these have their abundance cast into the offerings of Elohim, but she of her penury have cast in all the living that she had.
Right. So look, read 3 again.
And he said, of a truth I say unto you, this poor widow have cast in more than they all.
Why you think he said that? This poor widow has cast in more than they all. She, like he just said, she ain't hold nothing back. She ain't hold nothing back. Everything that she had, when we look at that word, just to let you know, when we look at 4, he said, for all these things of their abundance, they cast into the offering, but she of her penury has cast in all the living that she had. That word penury right there, you saying that right, penury? That means what she is lacking. Poverty, her deficit. She putting in everything that she have. That's her life. If she pouring into my life savings, that's what I got. And it's just me. That's what you giving up. Are you holding something back? Is it something that you know you holding back from this man and you be acting like the rich and throwing out your stuff that you feel like you know is easy and you keeping little stuff hid that you know you ought to give up? You holding back. And the very thing that you holding back is the very thing that's going to keep you from gaining this man eternal life. Ephesians chapter 2. Where we at? All right. This is at Ephesians 4, 2 and 4. Matter of fact, yeah, 2 and 4. That's fine.
But Elohim, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even we were dead in sins, have quickened us together with a Mashiach. By grace ye are saved. And he have raised us up together and made us sit together in Shamahim and Yahushua HaMashiach, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace and his kindness towards us through Yahushua HaMashiach.
And that's what we're looking to see. If you holding back things of this earth and you holding back the things that you know you ought to sacrifice, how can he show his exceeding the great riches for you, for your dead being clear? Keep that your hope, keep that your mind, and keep that your being. Because the reason that you do this is so that he can show forth his love for you. But if you holding back, you showing forth that you don't really love him like you say you do, and you don't want the riches that and the reward that he has to give you. All right?